And that's the FiveAA Sport.
Now the FiveAA forecast.
Open more doors with Harcourt Shepherd Property, the largest Harcourt group in SA. Just Google Shepherd Property.
Cloudy with a possible shower and 14. Tomorrow partly cloudy 16. Sunday a shower or two developing 18. And windy with a shower or two Monday 14. Then showers for Tuesday and Wednesday and a possible shower Thursday with temps in the mid-teens. Currently 9 degrees. More news as it happens on FiveAA.
Pick up a Chrysler 300C Luxury with leather interior, advanced safety technologies and 20-inch alloys for just $48,000 drive away. This is FiveAA Breakfast.
Morning everyone, 6:35. Just a reminder too, Netball World Cup starts today in Sydney and it is very, very popular. Australia are the outright favourites. They play Trinidad and Tobago. That match starting at 12:50. So a terrific competition, the World Cup.
Might be nice to see one of our national teams doing well. Geez, people are the mockery is coming thick and fast on social media. There's a fake Dave Warner account called not Dave Warner on Twitter that's just posted an image called The Story of the First Innings, and it says the Brody Bunch, and it's a grid in the same pattern as the famous show The Brady Bunch, and instead of, Marsha and Cindy and the kids, there's the headshots of Rogers, Smith, Marsh, Clark, Voges, Johnson, Stark, and poor old Nathan Lyon, who was the 8th Aussie to fall to Stuart Broad, those remarkable figures of 8 for 15. And just quickly, we were talking before about the sad passing of George Cole, who played Arthur Daly, and I said that the term, you're an Arthur Daly, he's a bit of an Arthur Daly, it actually entered the language here in Australia. And I thought it was mentioned in Parliament. Well, one of our listeners, Andrew, quite rightly texted in saying that it was actually Paul Keating who called Dr. John Hewson the Arthur Daly of politics when he tried to bring in the Fight Back package in 1993. Anyway, it is time to jump over the ditch to talk to a man whose national side did much better when they played the Poms about 3 or 4 months ago. Selwyn Manning is the editor of EveningReport.nz, and we talk to him every Friday. Selwyn, good morning, mate. We'll try not to talk about the cricket, if that's all right. Hey,
yeah, we'll do our best on that one, Dave.
Absolutely. Well, a few weeks ago, I was fascinated when we were talking about the issue with the collapse in the milk price in New Zealand and the effect that it is having on the economy. The dairy industry is still in strife, and it's still a problem for you guys.
Yeah, it is, and what's come through now is indications coming through from surveys and analysis that is showing that it is actually spreading and infecting, if you like, in a negative way, some of those service sectors that are aligned to the dairy industry. It's not all bad news, though. The survey, it's a bank in New Zealand, its chief economist, Tony Alexander, he put out his analysis yesterday, and it shows how businesses and services that remain reliant on that dairy sector, like you were saying, Dave, they're struggling, while others aligned to construction, horticulture, ICT, and some of the other service sectors are doing really well. The confidence survey, it showed that house construction, for example, quote here, very strong and rising, particularly in Auckland, Hamilton, Tauranga. Those are all kind of cities and towns within driving distance of Auckland. They're doing really well. Skilled labour, really tough getting skilled labour in that construction industry. Property development apparently is absolutely booming all over the country, and there's signs that those rocketing house prices that we've talked about on your program, that they're spilling out into some of the other regions and lifting up values there. Whether or not that's a good thing, it might be actually a bit of a sting in that tail. But horticulture, I know some of these things are big in Australia, and particularly South Australia too, like, watching what trends are happening now. El Nino is starting to show its ugly head over here in New Zealand. The pastures are drier than they normally would be. It's causing farmers to take stock off their paddocks, but even in horticulture they're being very conservative, but the surveys are showing that they're still doing really well, particularly in pit fruit, kiwi fruit, of course, avocados, and the wine industry is going really well due to buoyant kind of high demand in the offshore markets and a lower New Zealand dollar, Dave.
plenty of Aussies doing their bit to help out with the sauv blanc that gets consumed over here.
From Marlborough.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I remember being in New Zealand in 2007 when you were being affected by the drought we had here, and I got to tell you that it still looked greener than it does in the middle of winter here in the Adelaide Hills. It looked amazing. Look,
Yeah.
Selwyn, I'm just wondering if this game of rugby on Saturday might kind of lift us out of the sporting doldrums when the Blacks versus the Wallabies. I mean, you're hoping for the opposite result, but we could do with a win.
Yeah, I thought I'd try and cheer you guys up, particularly today, with something along this line. I mean, here's your chance to beat the world champions in rugby. If you pull that one off, it's going to be a good one, isn't it? But yeah, the game, Sydney, it doesn't get better than this. The two teams are polishing up their form in preparation for the Rugby World Cup. That begins in next month in September in England. The All Blacks, current world champions, of course, but they also hold the Bledisloe Cup, which is that big cup that is, for decades has been battled over by the Wallabies and the All Blacks. But some of the pundits here, as I mentioned on Peter Godfrey's show yesterday morning, they're kind of believing, and they're saying here and writing in the New Zealand press that the Wallabies are going to win on Saturday. That you guys are just perfectly set up for that. They're saying that there are two open side flankers that you guys have got, David Pocock and also Michael Hooper, that they're real world class. That's taken the Kiwis to put a concern, if you like, into our camp here. Good, to be fair about that. All Blacks, Steve Hansen, he's the coach here. He says, whilst that gives the All Blacks strengths in some areas, playing those two open flankers there probably weakens the Wallabies in other areas. But the players to watch, just to say, Jane,
yep.
All Black Dan Carter. He's the world-class act there in the number 10 jersey. That's the fly half.
Okay.
He plays his last game ever in Australia on Saturday, and that's worth checking him out. He's still a world-class athlete at the end of his game. And other All Black there, Milner Scudder. Now, watch him. He's a powerhouse. And then the Wallabies over here in New Zealand are saying, really watch Israel Folau, and the pundits here are saying that this is Australia's fullback and he's the best in the world, best athlete in international rugby at this time. So there's a lot of kudos going across Aussie at this stage.
Yeah.
But, of course, the haka will start it off. It'll be fearsome. It'll be a typical Trans-Tasman type of game, and it's set to be a real blinder.
Certainly is, and fingers crossed that they do better than our cricket team. Good on you. Selwyn Manning, the editor of EveningReport.nz. Thanks for that, mate.
Let's